Hello, welcome to Somerset News Network. I'm Ian, and I want to talk about Starmer. Now, I've tried to upload videos about Starmer over the last week, and they've been blocked by YouTube. I get check-in process come up when it's uploading. So I leave it, I come back, and it's still checking an hour later for a video that should have taken no more than 10 minutes to upload. So I've got to call things something totally different on the title. But at the start of the video, with my intros, I put what it's about there. So we're talking about Starmer, our illustrious Prime Minister, who's got as much personality as a slug. His front page team look like a bunch of DEI hires. You've got Rachel from Accounts, who's up to all sorts of tricks. The Deputy Prime Minister wasn't at parliamentary question times, sat next to Starmer on Wednesday. Does that tell you something or not? I don't know. I only pose the questions, I say. Starmer's EU deal has been scuppered by the Supreme Court, saying it has to be discussed and verified by Parliament, which is true. Why hasn't Starmer already gone to Parliament? Because they've got 400 MPs. They control Parliament. Starmer could make an announcement, put it in, and get a vote on it in Parliament. Is it because his backbenchers are against it? Will they see it as a way of having a go at Starmer, which means then he'd have to resign? So the best thing he can do is not do anything. Who is Starmer actually really working for? Because it ain't me and you. Not the British people. Remember, when he became Prime Minister before Christmas, the election was in July. In August or September, he had BlackRock in number 10, and we haven't been told what they were talking about. Is he being run by a foreign entity like BlackRock? I asked the question. All these freebies that Starmer's got, have any of them been from BlackRock? I posed the question. Then we got these Ukrainian rent boys firebombing his houses and his car. How did he know them? I still ask the question. I haven't got an answer. The mainstream media aren't asking the question. Then Sarah, the new MP for Reform, stood up and asked the question, as Starmer is aligning himself with European countries that have banned the burqa, would he be banning the burqa? Now, she never said it was Reform policy to ban the burqa. She asked the Prime Minister, and the Starmer never answered the question. So what the Prime Minister is there to do? He went on about Farage's financial plans, said they were never going to work. Well, that's nothing to do with banning the burqa. Then we had the chairman say that's not Reform policy. He resigns the next day, and then the next day he's back again. All we're doing is giving ammunition to the Labour Party. The Conservatives, the Reform and I can't say Liberal Democrats because they won't come into it, but the Northern Ireland parties should get together and say the enemy is Starmer, and Starmer has to be removed, an election called to allow the people to have their say. That is what's needed. Nothing that Starmer has done has he been voted in to do as Labour Party policy. There was a report on one of the news channels that senior Labour ministers have told Starmer that they want to bring in policies that were in their manifesto at the last election, because they're not doing it. Is Starmer being run by outside forces and doing their bidding, and is this part of all the freebies? And has he had freebies that he hasn't declared, and has he got dodgy bank accounts all over the place? I don't know the answer. I pose the question. You know, this country has almost, in July, would have had a year of a Labour government. I don't think we can last 4 more years of a Labour government before next election. We have to get Starmer out before he does too much damage. He wants to take us into the Ukraine war, which we don't want. I don't think the majority of the British people want to send our boys out to Ukraine to fight the Russians. It is no longer a just cause. The Ukrainians have lost that war already. You know, and sending them bombs and bullets is only creating more carnage before the inedible happens. If we had gone along with Trump and backed the peace deal that Trump was trying to create, the Russians would only have been around the Crimea, around the southern end. They are now creeping in to Ukraine from the east. Starmer wants Lisinski to carry on. France wants Lisinski to carry on. And Germany is now saying they're going to send 50,000 troops to fight in Ukraine. When Russia then has a go at the German troops within Ukraine, does that then trigger Starmer to be able to use our troops because of the NATO alliance? I fear he will. Is that what the plan is? To send German troops out? Put them in the front line? Use them as cannon fodder? So that France and Britain can send their troops out as well to fight the Russians? We had a Cold War. After the Second World War, Germany was split down the middle. You had the Berlin Wall. You had Eastern Germany, which was controlled by the Russians, and Poland as well. And you had West Germany. And it was a Cold War. We weren't fighting. Russia was just the bogeyman. I was in the cadets in my youth, and everything was geared up in the army and in the air force that I was involved with about fighting the Russians. Russia was the bogeyman. Berlin Wall came down. Poland got its independence. The Eastern European states, Bulgaria and Hungary, got their independence. Czechoslovakia, and pushed Russia back, which was a good thing. Got no problems with that at all. But then we come to Ukraine. This has been a New World Order war by the bankers, the elite, and the people to make bombs and bullets. Because they need a war to create bombs and bullets. Now, who owns a lot of the arms manufacture in the United States? BlackRock. BlackRock is the major shareholder of Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Remington. They make the bombs and bullets. It's in their interest to have a war so they can sell bombs and bullets and make a profit. Is that what BlackRock were doing in number 10 with Starmer? Trying to persuade him to keep the war going? I don't know. I pose the question. Because we haven't seen any minutes of the meeting, Starmer hasn't made any announcement of what's happened. I don't think he even went to Parliament and explained it. But I think I'm close to the truth. Trump has stopped the aid of anti-missile missiles, the Patriot system, going to Ukraine. The Patriot system in Ukraine that they were using has been wiped out. It can't pick up the Russian missiles now coming in, either because they're using these hypersonic missiles that as soon as the radar picks it up it's too late because it's gone bang, or they've got a coating on it the radar can't pick up, or they've got a jamming device that stops the Patriot system identifying it. And what are we doing? We sent them to 1,000 drones. Our defence secretary said on a news channel that we had sent Ukraine 1,000 drones. I still ask the question, I said it in another video, were our drones used to attack the Russian airfields? If so, that then makes us a legitimate target, because our equipment is now being used to attack Russia. Originally, the bombs and bullets that we gave Ukraine were for defense. They're now using it to attack Russia, which makes us a legitimate target. It's worrying, isn't it? And it's down to Starmer. Well, the Conservatives before didn't help either. But Starmer has now got blood on his hands. And if we don't get rid of Starmer, we haven't got a chance of trying to stop this war. Anyway, Ian, I've said enough. There'll be more later as things develop, and we'll find out. So bye bye for now.